Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today in this video we will be doing the second part of every NHL's team's biggest bust in history. Starting off with Nashville, we have Brian Finley, who was picked 6th overall in 1999. Brian Finley was known for letting in the occasional soft goal in the minors. Even with that, Nashville selected him 6th overall in 1999. His reputation came with him into the NHL, and he didn't get much time to play due to the underdevelopment of his game, suiting for only 4 games in his 8 seasons with the Predators. For the New Jersey Devils, I have selected Matthias Tenby. He was selected 24th overall in 2008. While they selected Adam Henrique in the 3rd round, they made a slight misstep with selecting Matthias Tenby 24th overall in 2008. The 4 seasons that Tenby was in the NHL, he barely developed his game enough to play outside of the minors. He was a choice the New Jersey Devils wished they could have taken back and changed. For the New York Islanders, I have selected Dave Jazowski. He went 2nd overall in 1989. Dave Jazowski was a choice that the Islanders wished they could have thought out differently. He was regarded as a lazy player, and his style of play never adapted to play in the NHL. As horrid as his numbers were, they were the best to come out of any players that the Islanders picked in 1989. For the New York Rangers, I have selected Bobby Sanguinetti. He went 21st overall in 2006. Sanguinetti struggled to find his way in the NHL, and it never really worked out for him. After being selected 21st overall in 2006, he spent 4 seasons in the Rangers organization, only suiting up for 5 games during that time. With the Ottawa Senators, I feel like this is a pretty obvious pick. I've gone with Alexander Daigle. Daigle was picked 1st overall in 1993. He left a dark legacy on the Ottawa Senators organization. He was framed as a superstar, but his numbers did not live up to the hype, and a dark cloud was followed him for his entire career. He played 10 seasons in the NHL, but contrary to his belief, the guy who went number 2 was far better than him. He was Chris Pronger. With the Philadelphia Flyers, I've decided to select Stephen Smith, who went 16th overall in 1981. The Flyers made many mistakes during the entry draft of the 80s, but the biggest mistake by far was selecting Stephen Smith 16th overall in 1981. He takes the cake as the biggest draft bust in the history of the franchise, playing majority of his North American hockey career in the minors. Smith managed to play 8 games in the NHL before skipping the Atlantic Ocean to play in Europe in 1989. For the Pittsburgh Penguins, my choice is Craig Hiller. He went 23rd overall in the 1996 entry draft. Leading up to the 96 entry draft, the Pittsburgh Penguins were wanting to find a young up-and-coming goalie to replace the aging Tom Barrasso. They selected Craig Hiller of the Ottawa 67s as the 23rd overall pick. He never played a game in the NHL, spending his pro career for the Syracuse Crunch. For the St. Louis Blues, I've decided to select Marek Schwartz. He went 17th overall in the 2004 draft. The St. Louis Blues were looking for a goaltender to potentially replace Dominik Hasek. Selecting Marek Schwartz 17th overall, they thought they had found it. Playing 6 games in the NHL over 3 seasons, he quickly found himself going back to Europe, where he still plays today. For Tampa Bay, I've decided to select Andy Rogers. He went 30th overall in 2004. After winning the Stanley Cup, Tampa Bay struggled to focus on drafting solid players just weeks after. Of course, winning the Cup meant their first pick of the draft was 30th overall. With that pick, they chose Andy Rogers. The defenseman tried all he could to develop, but in his first 5 seasons, he never made it out of the AHL. For the Toronto Maple Leafs, I decided to go with Tyler Biggs. The Toronto Maple Leafs have a record for not seeing if their best draft picks reach their full potential before giving up on them and trading them away. It's hard to say if Tyler Biggs, who they chose 22nd overall in 2011, was a complete bust, but he certainly was for Toronto. They traded him to the Pittsburgh Penguins after only 2 seasons with the Marlies, and selected after him was Nikita Kucherov, so the Leafs could have had Nikita Kucherov instead of Tyler Biggs. Imagine Nikita Kucherov playing on the right wing of the Leafs. You'd have like Matthews, Marner, and then Kucherov. That'd be an insane first line. But nope, they chose Tyler freaking Biggs. For the Vancouver Canucks, I've decided to select Patrick White, who went 25th overall in 2007. Patrick White was the first pick of the 6 players not selected by Vancouver in the 2007 draft, but who never played a single game in the NHL. White is the biggest bust because he was drafted in the first round. After graduating college and never inking a pro contract, he made his way overseas until retiring in 2017. For the Washington Capitals, I've decided to select Darren Vitich. He was picked 5th overall in 1980. Darren Vitich's fate in becoming a draft bust was not based on who he was, but more on what he wasn't. The top 5 picks in the 1980 draft were riddled with defenders. High expectations were put on Vitich, and he failed to live up to them. Being selected 5th overall, his last game in the NHL was played in the 1990-1991 season. He continued to play in the minors until finally retiring in 1999. For Winnipeg, I'm not for sure if I got this right, so I hope I didn't miss the net on this one. I've decided to go with Patrick Stefan, who he selected 1st overall in 1999. Before the Jets resurfaced in the NHL, Stefan was selected 1st overall by the Atlanta Thrashers. As a member of the Thrashers, Stefan is regarded as arguably the biggest bust in NHL history of the franchise. His biggest moment in the NHL happened when he missed an open net against the Edmonton Oilers, tripping and falling on the ice. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye!